Hey there, Dave Hakeem here, Director of the Midwest Academy. Today's video comes to you from our Firearms-Combatives program, which is a kinesiology-based combat shooting program taught through the Academy. The topic for today's video is a little bit controversial depending on what your training background is and the instructors you might or might not have trained with. The topic is on press checking. Our experience has been that we've had enough students who've come through our programs that either didn't understand the rationale or theory behind why you do a press check, or have a good understanding of proper technique of how to do a press check, that we thought we'd put together a video on it. We recommend that people learn and practice the techniques that we teach either through their use of dry fire training or with the assistance of inert training rounds. Either way, we want to make sure that we are conducting a good, safe training session, so let's make sure that we've gotten all the live ammunition out of our training area and we've ensured that our weapon is indeed clear. In order to make sure our weapon is clear, let's confirm that we have removed our source from the magazine well, and we have visually and physically inspected the chamber of the weapon to ensure that it is also clear. Once you've done that, you can close up your slide and you are now set up for dry fire. Okay, so what is a press check? Well, essentially a press check is nothing more than a means to ensure that there is a round actually in the chamber of the weapon and the weapon is ready to go. You might have manually cycled a slide, such as in a loading procedure, and you want to confirm that a round is actually seated, or the weapon might have cycled during contact. Well, hopefully it did cycle during contact, and you might want to ensure that your weapon still has a round in the chamber. Just one thing on cycling during contact, if you have a poorly maintained weapon or a dirty environment or something like that, sometimes weapons don't go to slide lock, on the last round. So your press check can catch something like that, that you're out of rounds, and you can confirm that by looking at the weapon. So one of the things that you'll notice about us in our Firearms-Combatives program is that we tend to do most of our manipulations in what some people might call the high ready position. We tend to basically advocate one platform, whether we're fighting open hand combatives, blade, impact weapon, pistol, or rifle. Even when we're doing our loading procedures and things like that, we basically bring our weapon up into our workspace. So I'm not going to load any differently than that, and I'm not going to press check it any differently than that. So I'm going to bring my weapon up and just kind of go through an administrative loading procedure, which is going to be the first time we do a press check on a weapon. In this case, I'm using a inert training round so that the weapon will cycle correctly. So I'm just going to load the magazine as I would. We advocate rotating the weapon inboard, coming over the top of the slide, power stroking the slide, and then at this time I would perform a press check. You notice that the way we load the weapon is basically rotated 45 degrees inboard, sights to the inside of the body. So at this point, all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my support side hand up. I'm going to bring it forward of the ejection port, and I'm going to apply slight backward pressure so I can look into the chamber and verify that I see brass. Now, if it was dark out, what I could do, if I couldn't see but I wanted to confirm it tactilely, is I could bring my trigger finger to the extractor base, and as I press back, my trigger finger moves back and I can feel brass. Okay? At the end of that, I'm going to push the slide forward, and for value added, I'm going to come to the back of the slide, give it a tap so I know the weapon is in battery and ready to go. Okay, fairly simple scenario we've set up. This will hopefully illustrate why we do our press check up in our workspace and not down at the stool or over the top of the slide looking down, as some people advocate, which is somewhat where the controversy comes in with us. So let's say this was my bad guy. I drove that target to the ground, and now I have unknown people here. I don't know if they're good guys or bad guys. Bring the weapon back to my workspace. They're not aggressing me. There's a lull in the gunfight is what we would say. At that time, I can assess my weapon condition. I can maybe check it, see how much ammo I have. Maybe there's enough to not justify a magazine change. And then I can do a quick press check to verify that the weapon is up and ready to fight if I need to, right? So hopefully that explains to you a little bit about why we do the press check and why we teach it from a high ready or up in our workspace.
2.51, 2.51.
All right, unload.